Live. All right, cool. What's up? What's up? All right, today we're going to continue talking about getting the life that you want. The title of today's discussion is The Repetition is the Prayer. Everything that you repeat is a prayer. We are going to talk about affirmations from a sense of everything that you do in your life is an affirmation. The strongest display of an affirmation is who you are being. The technique is you. When we talk about affirmations, the technique is you. Affirmations put you in the mindset. We're going to talk about how to make every single thing in your life the affirmation that leads you down the path of getting the life that you want, everything that you want, the money, the relationships, the friendships, the prosperity, the fulfillment, all of that. All right. So let me start with two quotes and then we'll get right into it. Number one is Hebrews 11:30. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after they had been encircled for 7 days. Seven, an affirmation, right? Think of it however you want, but this is just repetition. Now, let's also think about something else, right? So I was born in the Catholic Church. When I was a young pup, I was in the Catholic Church for a while, all right? Now, what was actually interesting is Catholics have the rosary. And if you've ever seen the rosary is a bunch of beads, and all it is different prayers, okay? And so why do the Catholics pray the rosary? Well, the only reason for it is repetition. It's because throughout history, we have understood the purpose of repetition, right? The problem might not be solved by the time I get to the end of the rosary, but I will feel better because I put myself in the state of mind that everything is okay, right? This is the power of repetition in your life, is that it puts you in the right mindset. It's a tool to get to what you want. Okay? So even the rosary shows you the power of affirmation. All right. Now, Hermetic principle. Through repetition, the unknown becomes known. Very powerful statement. It is through repetition of who you are being, the words that you are saying, the beliefs that you are thinking, that your words become flesh. Okay, your words become manifest. Everything in this world was once just a thought. Through repetition, through explaining it, through preaching it, through believing in it, it became made manifest. All right? So let's get into the meat and potatoes. But those are the two things that we're going to focus on. So every repetition is a prayer dressed in behavior. We tend to think of affirmations as only the words we say in the mirror, the mantras we whisper before sleep, but the truest affirmations are lived and not spoken. This is why there's so much power in who you are being. Are you walking through life as that divine being? Are you walking through life with conviction that everything that you want is attached to who you are being? Okay? Every morning routine, every evening indulgence, every subtle glance toward distraction or discipline is an affirmation of who you believe yourself to be. Your reactions, whether rooted in peace or panic, are prayers. The way you nourish your body, tend to your space, engage with strangers, or ignore your soul's longing, all of it is rhythm. And we live in a world that is governed by rhythm, repetition, synchronicity. All right? The same way that you communicate, or the universe communicates to you through repetition, through patterns, 333s, 222s, constant triggers that you see. This is the same way that you communicate to the universe. You communicate to the God within you through repetition. If this is what you want, then repeat it indefinitely until it is made manifest in your life. Because you are God. You communicate to the Creator through the language of the Creator. Not through begging, but through being, through affirming. Huh? So yeah, we adding a new gem in here today. All right, your reactions, whether rooted in peace or panic, are prayers. The way you nourish your body, tend to your space, engage with strangers, or ignore your soul's longing, all of it is rhythm. All of it is repetition, and repetition is ritual, silently shaping your becoming. You affirm yourself not just by what you say, but by what you tolerate, what you chase, what you reject. It's all, right? It's all saying who you are. It's all a declaration of who you are, okay? The food you eat is an affirmation of how worthy you believe your body is of care. The love you give or withhold is a decree of the story you carry about your capacity to receive. The way you walk into a room, the way you breathe under pressure, the way you linger with joy or speed past it, the way that you linger in gratitude or you're always looking for the next thing, the way that you sit in lack or you sit in the embodiment of the divine, right? All of this adds up to a living liturgy. You are always declaring something to the universe. This is who I am. You are always saying, I am. Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatever you ask in the Father's name being I am, right? So it's not just the things that you say consciously, like we've always talked about. It's the things that you also communicate unconsciously. Whatever you declare yourself to be is the prayer. And how do you declare yourself to be something? It's not just through your words, it's through your actions, your beliefs, your patterns, your habits, the things you run from, the things you embrace, the things that you react to. All of it is a declaration of who you are. It is all a prayer. Everything that you do is a prayer. Everything that you do is a prayer. Everything that you do is a prayer. Okay, so this is who I am. This is what I expect. This is what I'm aligned with. And the universe, like a mirror, simply reflects it back. Keep in mind, like we always say, right? There are no tests. There is no test. You are not put through suffering. Life is just a perfect mirror. And often to get to your testimony, you just have to wake up from the dream. You have to remember that you are the dreamer in the dream, and you have forgot that you are dreaming. And once you start looking around with absolute accountability and you realize that everything that you see is just a reflection of who you are being, now you can play the game properly, divinely, as who you actually were made manifest here to be. Okay, so the universe is just a mirror. It simply reflects it back. It's not unfair. It's not mean. It's not cruel. It's fair. It is fair. It responds to who you are being immediately. Everything outside of you is an eyeball looking at you, trying to perceive who are you being? Who do you believe yourself to be? What are you speaking? Okay? What are you demanding and decreeing? And everything will mirror that back to you, okay? So ask yourself with reverence. Ask yourself with reverence, what am I praying through my patterns? Are my habits echoing the highest version of myself? The divine version of myself, the confident version of myself, right? The badass version of you, the one with that spiritual backbone, the one that walks through life knowing that everything is done. The God within me supplies everything. Everything is done, okay? Are my habits echoing the highest version of myself or a lesser memory of who I used to be? Are you remembering yourself incorrectly? Did you forget that you are God? Okay? There is no neutral repetition. Everything has meaning. Everything that you do has meaning. This is why consciousness is called consciousness. It's about how conscious you can be. The more conscious you can be, the more that you can receive, the more that you can control your reality. Higher consciousness does not mean going out and getting a whole bunch of information. It means how conscious can you be? How aware can you be moment by moment of who you are being? Okay, there is no neutral repetition. Every act, whether conscious or careless, is part of your sacred cycle. Okay? And to change your life is not just to speak a new truth, but to live it again and again and again and again until your very presence becomes a sanctuary, until every breath becomes a blessing, and until every step becomes a psalm. Right? You are the affirmation. Who you are being is the affirmation from moment to moment. We say these affirmations to get us in the mood, right? To kind of just, set the mood so you can walk through life, right? But this is really the purpose of everything. The purpose of your affirmations, the purpose of visualization. It is you're making a declaration to the universe, to the God within you, right? You're making a declaration that this is who I'm going to be. And I'm making this declaration, and then I move forward as such, and I allow the world to reshape around me. Right? You go through life and you have two choices. Either the mirror triggers you and you go back to the old version of you, or by staying, embodying who you are being, who you want to be, the divine version of you, the one that expects miracles. You trigger the world to change. One or two things. Who's stronger? It's just you. This is all just a reflection of you. So the longer you can hold on to who you are, you trigger the world to changing. It's just a mirror. There's no need to stand in front of the mirror and beg for the shirt to change on you. You just go change your shirt. Okay? You can't stand in front of the mirror and see a stain on your shirt and will the mirror to change. The mirror will never change before you. You can't stand in front of the mirror and beg God to change your shirt. Please remove this stain from my shirt. No, just go change the shirt. This is what Jesus, your I am awareness, Yahshua, whatever you want to call him, right? This is what Yahshua was trying to explain at the pool of Bethesda. Right? All these people were sitting around waiting for an angel to stir the pool. And when he walked up to the crippled man and said, "Do you want to be healed?" The man said, "Of course I do, but I have nobody to take me to the pool." And then when I do get somebody to take me, somebody else jumps in front of me. Think about how crazy this sounds. This is the same way somebody asking you, "Hey, do you want to be wealthy?" "Of course I do, but I have no one to give me wealth." "Do you want to be loved?" "I have no one to give me love." Right? The same story. And so what did your I am awareness say? It says you don't need anybody. You only need me. You only need yourself. You only need to grant yourself these things. You are the God granting yourself the experience of a God. This is why everything outside of you is such a reflection. This is why you can predict your life with such certainty. Okay? Let's be accountable. Let's have a moment of accountability. All right? Think about your expectations in dating. Okay, if you're single, think of your expectations of dating. Would you say that dating meets not your desires? I'm not talking about your fantasies. I'm talking about your expectations. Does dating meet your expectations? Do you walk into the dates thinking that, look, I got to be careful because whoever sits across from me at this table or this picnic or whatever, I know that they are going to love me. They're not going to want to let me go. So I got to make sure that I really like them. Do you have that kind of confidence, or do you just, I hope, people typically ghost me, so I don't know what to do, right? What is your expectation? How does your expectation play out? What you'll see is that most of the time you can predict how things are going to go. You already know if I talk to this person about this thing, they will react negatively. If I talk to this person about that thing, they will react positively. You even know when certain things are going wrong in your relationship. And you have good news and you want to communicate this to your partner, but things have been off recently. You believe that they're pulling away. You're like, I hope that they react good. And then they underwhelm you with their reaction. You could predict that. Now you act like it's a surprise and you can go into this spiral of negative thoughts, but it was your belief just being made manifest. That was all. It's not about your fantasies. It is about your beliefs. It is about who you believe that you are. Do you believe that everything works out? Do you believe that you are magnetic? Right? Do you believe that you're slicker than oil, right? Yeah, all it takes is one conversation. All it takes is one conversation and you're going to want more. Do you believe that, or do you have a different belief? Your life is very predictable based on these beliefs. What do you believe about money? Show me your bank account. I'll tell you exactly what you believe about money. Okay? What do you believe about freedom? How do you operate day to day? How do you believe relationships should unfold? Okay? All these things are evident in our life. We can't hide our beliefs. Our life shows us our beliefs, right? This is why you should treat your life like a report card. Everything that you do not like, all it's doing is reminding you of who you are not. You're experiencing certain things because you're remembering yourself incorrectly. If you truly understood that you were the divine, that God was within you, that you were God, you would not go through anything that you don't like. Or you wouldn't dwell in it long. You might be in there in the moment, but you would understand the situation doesn't look ideal. But the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly. And just like that, your belief would allow that moment to fade away and be replaced with something more in alignment with who you are, which is God. Anything that you experience that you do not feel is in alignment with God, it is just a clear sign to you that you're remembering yourself incorrectly. Everything in your life should be delicious, should be divine, should be beautiful. The work you do should be beautiful. The relationships you have should be divine, right? Should always have more than enough money. They print it out. They just print it out of thin air. You go into the market, it's just numbers on the screen just going up and down, right? You should always have more than enough. What's stopping you from these things? How are you remembering yourself? What is your belief about these things? Okay, your life is the report card. Study your life. Things that you don't like that repeat over time, these are synchronicities, address them. All right? So the next part, be still, repeat, and receive. The sacred science of rest and rhythm. So we're going to talk about the science of repetition. So being who you are over and over again, or quote unquote affirmations. And then we're going to talk about the concept of the Sabbath, of rest. All right. So the mystical marriage of Sabbath and sacred pattern. All right. So Psalm 46:10. What does it say? Be still and know that I am God. Right, the Sabbath is the state of inner stillness where desire and fulfillment are one. That's a quote from Neville Goddard. So typically when we read these things in a very literal way, we'll take the Sabbath as this day where the Lord created everything, then you rest on a certain day, right? Saturday, Sunday, depending on what you believe in, okay? Now, we want to look at it from a different perspective. I just want to look at it from a metaphorical, metaphysical perspective. You're going to have time to work. And the work is in filling your mind with the belief, showing the universe what you want, showing the God within you what you want. And then you're going to have a time where you rest in the faith that it is unfolding. Okay? So you do the work to embody this person. And once this person becomes you, you rest in the faith that it is done. And I'm not saying to repeat it like you have to get to a point where you just know for a fact, right? This is who I am and I know it's coming, right? You have to determine in your own mind, in your own consciousness, that you have changed. And now you expect this thing to show up in your life. No one can teach you really how to feel that way, how to think that way, how to be that way. This is just an internal decision. Knowing is a decision, right? What is the difference between expecting and just kind of hoping? That's you, right? It's the conviction that you have. It is, can you speak to yourself with the conviction that it doesn't matter what you're feeling, doesn't matter what you see externally, you can rest in the fact that things are unfolding. This is all it takes. It's just a decision. Okay, it's not a feeling that you conjure up. It's not something that you work towards, right? The moment that you ask, you receive. Before they ask, I'll answer. Right? This God is within you. Okay, so the moment that you ask, if you could immediately accept it right there as done and immediately walk with faith that it's done in expectation of it, that's all you really need. Okay, so the work is really conjuring up the thoughts instantly. The moment you have a desire, it is done. You give it to the God within you because you and God are the same. God just does the work. And then you enjoy the Sabbath. You rest and you allow everything to be made manifest. You do what's next, the next step. Okay? So the divine pause, rest as alignment and not abdication. All right, so there is a holiness in stillness that the modern world has forgotten. In a society obsessed with hustle, striving, and endless doing, we have mistaken rest for weakness, silence for passivity, but rest in its divine essence is not laziness. It is active alignment with the source, right? To be still is to come into full agreement with the unseen. When we're constantly trying to work and we believe that we have to do more affirmations, I have to do more, what we're communicating is that we don't have something. So basically when we're saying, okay, if you want to receive something, you have to have it. It is the expectation that there's nothing to do, it is going to unfold. Now, if you have certain beliefs that you need to get over, then by all means, use affirmations, use all those things. Okay. But if you're doing those things to get something, right? If you're doing those things to get something, You should be doing those things to experience having it. All right? You don't do the technique to get something. You don't visualize to get something. This is why visualization shouldn't be work. Your affirmation shouldn't be work. This is why even techniques like robotic affirmation are so good, right? Because it's literally mindless. Because if we're trying to work, right, we're communicating subconsciously that we don't have this thing. We're trying to strive for it, which seems natural because of how the world has taught us to be. You need to work for the good grades, work for approval, work for the job, work for the raise, work for this, work for the baptism, work to be saved, right? But you don't have to do that. You already are God. You already are the creator. So not working is counterintuitive. But you have to think about it from a psychological perspective. If you believe that doing the affirmations is going to get that thing, what are you really communicating? You're communicating that you don't have it. Right? So you have to come to the expectation. You have to come to the knowing that I'm doing this to keep my mind focused, but I already have it. But that's something that only you can decide within you. It's just a choice, right? It's not a feeling. It's not work. It's simply a choice. This is why manifestation is just choosing what you want. Right? You choose what you want. You embody the person who expects that thing. So embodying that person, right? Being that person. It's not about, you don't have to walk around and pretend that you have this thing. You just have to walk in expectation. Because to expect, to desire, to have, to be, it's all the same thing. To desire is to have. There's no difference in the mind of the divine. All right? So you just choose what you want. You walk with expectation until it jumps into your life. All right? So to be still is to come into full agreement with the unseen. It is the Sabbath of the soul, where the seed of your intention germinates, not through force, but through faith. Sabbath is not a day of the week. It is a dimension of consciousness where the work is already done and you rest not because you're tired, but because you trust. All right. So 2, the surrendered heart control versus magnetic faith, right? Are you more attached to the end? Or are you more attached to controlling the entire journey there? Make sure that what you want is in the end. If you want that prosperity, do you really want that job or do you want certain money? Right? Do you really want that car or do you want a feeling of freedom? What is it that you really want? All right. Now, don't micromanage the middle. If you want that million, it doesn't matter what job gets you that or grants you that. Right? You just want it. So ride the wave, ride the flow, ride the lessons until you get there. Oftentimes, it's when we try to micromanage the middle, that's where the frustration is. Right? Why are you acting like you care so much about everything in the middle? You care about getting what you want. Okay? So manifestation is not born from anxious control. It is birthed in the womb of surrender. Control says, how will this happen? And faith says, it is already done. It's already done. I can't see it, but I'm expecting it. It's already done. But that anxious control says, okay, how is it going to be? How is it going to happen? You have to be like a child. Be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. All right? If you ask a child that's playing with his toy train, how the train works, it's what? I don't know. I don't care. It just works. I have it, and it's real to me. This is the way that you need to look to your manifestation. Look to your desires. How are you going to get there? I don't know. I don't care. It already is done. It will be revealed to me at the right hour. It's already done. The moment that I accepted it and walked with faith, my soul has already created the path to get there. It already exists. And the path to walk to get there, I'm walking on it right now with full faith. Right? With full faith. So stillness is a stance of spiritual confidence. It is not the silence of defeat, but the stillness of a lion watching its prey poised, present, and precise. We are not called to wrestle with the how. And you've never been told that. Tell me where in any spiritual text, in any kind of, in the Bible, canonized Bible, in a Gnostic text, whatever spiritual thing that you believe in, right? When has it ever said stress about the how? We talk about setting goals. We talk about, releasing the need to control the path there. Right? The path is the divine's. The goal is yours. Right? You care about the final result. Right? You're never told to control the how. All right, so we're not called to wrestle with the how, but to rest in the who, the divine I am. Okay? So reflection, where am I still trying to make things happen through force? In what areas of your life are you trying to force things? Instead of holding on to the actual end result, where are you trying to micromanage the middle? Because you know what micromanaging the middle does? Micromanaging the middle leads to frustration. It's not even really what you want. It doesn't matter how the thing that you want comes about. You just want it to come to you in a divine way. But micromanaging the middle, it's communicating, first of all, it's communicating that we don't trust. Okay? Second of all, it's sending these mixed signals out to the universe. Do you actually want the prosperity, or do you just want this one thing on the path there? Which one do you want? Choose. Okay? You can micromanage everything that you want and do it one step at a time. I want this and make sure this happens, then go to the next thing. But where's the fulfillment in that? Okay, you have to trust that this divine, your divine spouse, right, your divine father, the God within you, knows how to get you there better than you can. You only know what you know, right? You know certain things about the people around you, but you cannot, with certainty, create the perfect plan and know all the people that you have to help along the way, all the people that have to help you, all the times that you have to be rerouted, all the doors that have to close on you just to push you to the right direction. These are all things that we trust to the greater mind. Like when we understand that God is omnipotent, what does that really mean? It means that infinite consciousness is everything. It is in everything, right? It is orchestrating everything without an exception, right? It is flowing through everything. So there are certain things that you will not understand. When we look out in reality, we see less than 1%. We see 0.01%. The rest of it is just energy and information. So the 0.01% that we see, that's just in this room, okay? The 99.99%, that is the realm of your higher self, the realm of the divine, plus every room that you don't see. There are things unfolding in rooms that you don't know about. Your name's being brought up in rooms that you don't know about, right? Your name's being protected in rooms that you don't know about. All these things are happening behind the scene. Your only job is to trust. In a world that pushes you to try to control everything, that tries to get you to force everything and push you to control every single circumstance, even though that's impossible because you can never make a perfect plan. Okay, the true strength comes in the trust. It comes in the faith. It comes in knowing that you and your Father are the same, but your Father does the work. Okay? And then reflection question number 2, what would it look like to rest in the knowing that it is already mine? Doesn't it feel good to rest? Doesn't it feel good to just take a deep breath? I say, man, I've been trying to do this my whole life by myself. Now I actually have a greater mind, exponentially greater mind, that can handle this for me. That's divine. That's beautiful. Okay? It's absolutely divine and beautiful. All right, so number 3, divine repetition, sacred cycles that shape reality. Like we were saying every time, or like we were saying in the beginning, everything that we do is an affirmation. All right. Now, there are times where we're going to focus our affirmations and we're going to say things. And I love affirmations. I robotically affirm all day, right? It's something that just works for me. But everything that we do is affirmation. The way we take care of our body, the way that we eat, the way that we react to the world. Anything that you do in a repetition is an affirmation. It's a statement of who you are. Right? Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name, Father's name being I am, right? So whatever that you say and you declare yourself to be, the Father's name is I am, right? So whatever you say you are, is a prayer. Now, it's not just what you say, right? It's every time you declare yourself to be anything, right? Consciously or unconsciously. When you're complaining about somebody and you're declaring yourself to be a victim, that is a prayer. Okay? When you make promises to yourself and you don't fulfill those promises, right? You say you're going to wake up at a certain time and you don't. That is a declaration of who you are. Okay, let's get real about it. It's not just about what we're consciously declaring. It is about what we are communicating 24/7. Okay, what is the signal that you're sending? Who are you declaring yourself to be? Over and over again. Where are you making repetitions in your life? How do you allow people to treat you? How do you look at yourself? Right? How do you take care of your body? Okay, how do you take care of your mind? How do you take care of your sexual energy? How do you feel when you do those things, right? These are all declarations of who you are, okay? So what stillness is to the inner realm, right? What stillness is, what faith is to the inner realm, repetition is to the outer ritual. Rituals are the language of the subconscious. Repetition is the rhythm of reality. The walls of Jericho didn't fall on the first lap. It took 7. Okay, a sacred pattern echoing heaven's design. Like I was saying earlier, right? Why do Catholics pray the rosary? It's just for repetition. I forgot what interview it was, but a nun specifically said it. She was like, the problem might not be gone by the time we finish the rosary, but you feel better. It's just the power of affirming, of repetition. Okay, what are you repeating in your life? What are you constantly repeating in your life, right? Rituals are the language of the subconscious, and repetition is the rhythm of reality. Affirmations, mantras, decrees, these are not empty words, but spiritual chisels shaping the invisible into form. Your words are creating universes. Your beliefs are creating realities. Okay, all these things are being shaped by who you are being. Okay, every repeated word is a brick in the temple of your reality. You are building your reality brick by brick. You're building this. Okay, every cycle, each cycle that you complete, each morning declaration, each evening prayer, imprints your vision deeper into the divine matrix. Okay, your perception is your weapon. Now, how do you actually get to, really utilizing this repetition? Repetition, right? Paint with your perception as much as you can, as often as possible, okay? As often as possible. Nah, I've never been. All right, so number 4, the mystical marriage, when stillness and repetition meet. All right, so stillness magnetizes, right? The highest vibration is typically the calmest person, right? Calmest person in the room just seems to be more magnetic than everybody else, right? Repetition materializes. Stillness, faith magnetizes. Your faith just builds your aura, your confidence in that divinity of who you are, right? Walking in expectation, that silent, confident expectation. It's powerful. It is powerful, right? Repetition materializes. The more that you can walk. Keep in mind, every moment is just a picture. It's a steel frame. Every moment you're stepping into a different picture, okay? So every time, every moment that you stay conscious and present and aware of your divinity, this is materializing reality. Right? Every single moment is a prayer, right? Who are you being? Okay, and together, stillness and repetition form the mystical engine of manifestation. So to enter the Sabbath state is to dwell in the end, to dwell in the expectation that it is done. Okay? To declare in holy rhythm is to reaffirm that end. So these are your powers, right? Repetition and faith, conviction and faith, conviction, repetition. Okay, this is your superpower, man. You are the superhero in this reality. Okay, Every beat of your breath, all right? So to declare in holy rhythm is to reaffirm that end with every beat of your breath. You are both the priest in silence and the prophet in decree. You are the beginning and the end. You are the prophet. You are the voodoo doctor in your life, right? You are the witch. You are whatever you want to call it. That is what you are, right? Whatever you want to call it is what you are. You are the quiet and the chant. You are the temple and the song. So a couple reflection questions. Number one, what sacred rhythm have I established in my life? Have you established a sacred rhythm of every moment of the day you're expecting miracles? You just know that the divine is working everything out for you. Okay? Or are you just hoping things will get better? Do you feel like a victim in any areas? Right? Whether you're consciously communicating that you believe you're a victim or unconsciously doing it. Right? You're just reacting to situations in a way that you're not proud of. Right? You're expecting the worst in things. Okay, what is the rhythm that you are setting? What is the cadence that you are setting in your life? Okay, and number two, what do you repeat daily? And is it aligned with who you truly want to become? Okay, that's a deep question right there. What are you repeating daily, and is it truly aligned with what you want to become, with who you want to become? Right, if I was a guy and I caught myself, arguing in comment sections with women, is that the man that I really want to be, right? If I find myself constantly, stressing about money, I have to look at that belief and say, okay, what would I have to believe to be true to stress about money? Well, maybe my belief is that, the Most High is not abundant. Well, how do I change that belief? Can I meditate on it? Can I affirm it? Right? What can I do? Do I need to study more? Do I need to learn more skills, right, to open more portals? Really, every skill that you have is just opening a portal for prosperity to flow through you. How many portals do you have open? All right? So what do you have to do? These are just good questions to ask, right? What do you repeat daily? What is the first thing that you do in the morning, right? Do you open up your phone first thing? So the first thing that happens is other people's thoughts and beliefs seep into your mind? Or do you immediately wake up and the first thing that you try to do is say, thank God that I woke up. Let's see what miracles are going to occur in my life today. How do you set the tone for your day? Right? It's much easier to start your day on a high note than to try to raise yourself into a high note later on. Right? You go on social media, there's no telling what you're going to scroll past. There's no telling what you are going to hear. Right? Maybe that's a challenge. Maybe that's a 7-day challenge. Is the first thing that you do when you wake up, maybe turn your phone on. Make sure your phone is off when you go to sleep. Okay, I don't care if you got to put a big ass Post-it note on top of it that says, hey, stop. Put yourself in the mindset of how you want this day to go, right? Whatever you have to do. You have to do it like your life depends on it, because it does, right? Everything in your life depends on who you are being. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. To decree is to speak as a legal authority. How are you speaking to yourself? You already know. You start scrolling on social media, you're immediately it's going to push you into a victim mindset. If you go to the wrong side of social media, man, it's going to have you hating women, hating men, hating yourself, questioning everything, the economy, everything, right? So how are you setting up the framework for you to have a good day? What are your habits like? What is your repetition? All right. But you can, the beautiful thing about this is that we can shake up our life like this. We can change it like this. You can wake up tomorrow in a new reality. All right. This next week could be the best week of your life. You could receive a miracle every day. Your life can change quickly. Your life can, in a month, you could have night and day. New car, new apartment, new relationships. Everything could change in 30 days, in one moment, by making the decision right now. All right? So 5, creating your rhythm of stillness and speech. All right, 1, daily Sabbath practice. Take time each day for stillness. Okay, take time each day for stillness. Not to think, but to know. This is a very divine meditation to do. All right? Sit in the vibration of it is done. Meditate on it is done. Don't meditate and try to do something, try to conjure up feelings, right? Just literally sit there and repeat to yourself that it is done. And it is done. I am divinely protected. Miracles are flowing through every part of my life. Everything is working out perfectly. Nothing is as it seems. Everything is much better. Right? Nothing negative can touch me. Everything is done. Everything that I want is done. And every step that I take, I get closer to revealing those things. Every moment is a miracle. Right? Sit in that meditation. Say whatever feels good to you, right? But sit in that vibration of it is done. Don't try to make it happen. Know that it is done. Speak with conviction. This is the power of the God within you. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Whatever you ask in the Father's name. Let's translate this. Whatever you decree. This means when you look out and you say it's all beautiful, it is. When you say it is done, it is. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Guess who the Word is? It's you. It's everything. It dwells among us. Right? You are the Word made flesh dwelling amongst humanity. You decree a thing and it shall be. This is why when you say it's divine timing, it is. When you say shit's fucked up, it is. When you say there's cheating, they are. When you say they can't get enough of me, they can't. When you declare things, that's what it is. Declare that it's done. Right? Allow that God power to flow through you. Right? Trust in the divine. Hold the divine to their word. Hold God to God's word. This is what it's for. This is why God decided to experience His life through you. It's to have a fulfilling experience. Okay? Not to come down here and suffer and stumble through everything, hit his head all over the place, right? Utilize that God power within you, all right? Number 2 is a sacred affirmation cycle. All right, choose a set of declarations that are aligned with your vision. If your vision is prosperity, right? I always talk about the silent day, but what if you just took a day with no music, no TV, no nothing, no book, no phone, just straight you and one affirmation? What is your number one goal right now that you're trying to get to? How can you embody the fulfillment of that? Is it just prosperity? Is it that you truly want to see a miracle, that everything in your life is miraculously and divinely unfolding in ways that you could not expect and could not predict, and it just leaves you, your jaw dropped. It just leaves you in awe. Every miracle that you encounter in your life just leaves you feeling more connected and closer to the divine. What is that affirmation? Write it down and spend the day repeating it, right? Even if it's marriage, right? It's not just marriage, right? It's more than that. I trust that my divine counterparts, right, is being magnetized to me, and we are drawing closer in every moment, and everything that I have been through was perfect in the unfolding of getting me to that person. Right? This is a person that will be my mirror like no other, that will bring me closer to the divine. I will see the divine in them. They will see the divine in me. We will be willing to work through whatever. Right? Go on and speak that. Okay? Take a day. Take a day away from everything. Disconnect from social media. Disconnect from all the shit and focus your mind on what you want. For a day. Just dwell for a day in the fulfillment of those desires and see what will happen. Right? See how much better you feel. Then once you come out that day, it's easier to walk in conviction. It's easier to walk in trust. And then I know even, when I was serious, before I had met my person back in the day, right? It was always trying to force things. It was the moment that I sit down with somebody, I'm already trying to put them through a checklist and figure out, what do you match up to what I want? And it wasn't until I truly started walking in faith with that abundance mindset that, everything is working out for me. And that's when it was like, boom, everything just fell into place quickly, all right? So number 3, a weekly ritual reset, okay? Set aside one day to release control entirely. No striving, no fixing, no trusting. Maybe it's Sunday. Maybe you have one day of the week that is your personal Sabbath. Your personal Sabbath day. This is the day that I just know that everything's good. I set my schedule and everything is to reinforce that everything's good. Maybe I have a longer meditation and I reinforce that in my mind. Okay, whatever you have to do. Maybe you have that weekly reset. Everything that I've been going through in this week, I've been striving. This is the day that I sit and rest in the knowing that everything is working out. If you can't do a full day because you can't afford it once a week, right? Even though I think we all should be able to take at least one, right? Especially if this is this is the portal to manifesting everything that you want. Okay, what would be more important? What is more important? Okay. And so the Jericho March method, all right? So when facing resistance, when anything in your life seems to be, difficult to overcome, maybe you can't find yourself in the expectation that it's there, and you're striving, you're trying to work too hard, you just feel resistance, right? Choose some kind of symbolic ritual, something that you consider symbolic, all right? You can walk, you can chant, you can pray, you can sing, you can make a song, you can go for a long walk and just record yourself saying something. You can use the Parrot app, right? I use the Parrot app. When I'm running, I have the Parrot app on. I speak affirmations into this app, records it, right? And then you can just play it on loop. Maybe you have some kind of ritual. Maybe it's a certain meal that you create. But while you are creating that meal, you are praying, you are affirming, you are in the knowing, you are pretending that everything works out. Maybe you have one meal a week. Saturday morning, you wake up by yourself, right? You cook yourself breakfast and you rest in the fact that whenever I cook this for myself, for the God within me, because this is what we really enjoy, I know that everything works out, right? It is your ritual. It is your ritual. It is your way of impressing your mind. Okay? So let the walls fall on God's timing and not yours. Okay? And so number 6, the soul's reframe. Rest and rhythm are power. You were never meant to force your way into blessings. This is why it doesn't even feel good to sit and beg. Right? And this is why we don't feel like we get results. The only time that you get results from begging is if you beg and then immediately you step with faith that it's done. Because that's where your power is. Nowhere does it say the hardest beggar, the biggest beggar, gets the prize. It never says that. Right? It says, act as if you have it and then you will. Decree a thing and it shall be. Whatever you ask in the Father's name, it shall be. Whatever you declare yourself to be, right? This is what it says over and over again. Never to beg. All right? So you were meant to rest your way into resonance, repeat your way into embodiment, and receive your way into glory. Okay? This is what you were meant to do. You can think of that divine Father, that infinite consciousness within you, almost as if it's the masculine energy always providing for you. And this is why we really have to step into our feminine energy to receive. A lot of receiving, right? The faith, the resting in the it's done, right? That is cultivating your feminine energy. Now you'll see that the more that you cultivate that part of you, that feminine energy, right? The more that you open yourself to receiving from your Heavenly Father. All right? Which is, it's difficult for some people, right? It's difficult for a lot of men. It's difficult for a lot of women as well. I'm not even going to put like a specific gender on it. It is difficult to embody that feminine energy because the world right now is very anti-feminine energy. We see that there's a lot of men in their masculine energy. There's a lot of women that are primarily in their masculine energy. So because that's just how the world operates. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing per se, right? All I'm saying is because of how the world works, because most people have to step out into society and do this type of work, right? We have to go strive. We have to go get into the corporate job and all these things. It requires you to step more into your masculine energy. And now all of a sudden we're introduced to these spiritual concepts. It's like, no, you have to receive. And so now we kind of all also see, why are you being pushed into your masculine energy, right? It's never just the surface level things that we think it is. Okay, it's more than just a attack on relationships. It's an attack on consciousness as well, right? Feminine energy is a lot. Feminine energy is empathy. It's reception, right? It's emotional vulnerability, emotional awareness, okay? It is being in the moment, in the present moment, okay? Because feminine energy loves to be in the present moment, right? So your masculine energy, what it's actually meant for is it's meant to be a container for your feminine energy. Meaning, if I think of masculine energy, I'm thinking of forward-thinking things. I'm thinking of structure. I'm thinking of discipline, right? Now, the moment that I say I want to wake up tomorrow at a certain time and work out, and somebody calls me, and it's like, hey, we finna do this tonight. The feminine energy in me that wants to live in the moment is gonna be like, hey, fun. I wanna do that, right? But your masculine energy creates this container so your feminine energy can thrive, right? So this is why even when we embody, like especially as men, right? When we embody our masculine and feminine energy, and we can cultivate both, and we can create that safe container for our feminine energy to operate freely, because there's a time for fun, right? Then we can understand how to translate that into the relationship. So from a relationship perspective, what masculinity does is you try to strip away certain masculine functions for your woman to allow her feminine energy to expand. This feminine energy needs safety, right? It needs boundaries, right? It's why women subconsciously test you and kind of poke your boundaries to see where you're weak at, right? To keep you on your toes, man. And feminine energy does that consciously and subconsciously. Your own feminine energy will test you. When you make a goal and you try to work with discipline, that's why most people fall off of their New Year's resolutions. Why? Because their feminine energy tests them out of it. To test to see if you're really about it. This is a core principle of femininity. Femininity tests masculinity. Right? And we could say, man, why do women play the games or whatever? But, do you want women to be like men, or do you want women to be like women? Right? But anyways, that's a side note. Okay. So the world will call it laziness. Okay, but the mystics know that this is mastery. Stillness, relaxing, accepting things as done, being in the present moment. This is self-mastery. This is self-mastery, man. All right? So the Sabbath is the secret of manifestation. Okay? It is the rest in knowing that the desire is fulfilled. This is the secret. Conviction is one thing, right? Conviction that it's all coming. This all comes from that resting in the knowing that the desire is filled. Not the belief, but the knowing. The knowing that transcends whatever you see or whatever you feel, right? My feelings can go all over the place, but I still rest in the knowing that everything's working. All right? The situation can look like whatever, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation is unfolding perfectly. Okay? In Hebrews 11:30, okay, by faith, this is what we actually read the first time, right? By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after they had been encircled for 7 days. The repetition, the 7 days, 7 days of the week, the Sabbath, it rests, and now all of a sudden the boundaries fall, right? So you can receive your manifestation. And then Hermetic principle, through repetition, the unknown becomes known. So before we go through these last 3 reflection prompts, I'm gonna go through this first intro again. So hopefully you can read it from a different perspective now, all right? So every repetition is a prayer dressed in behavior. Okay, we tend to think of affirmations as only the words we say in the mirror, the mantras we whisper before sleep, but the truest affirmations are lived and not spoken. Every morning routine, every evening indulgence, every subtle glance toward distraction or discipline is an affirmation of who you believe yourself to be. Your reactions, whether rooted in peace or panic, are prayers. The way you nourish your body, tend to your space, engage with strangers, or ignore your soul's longing, all of it is rhythm, right? All of it is repetition, and repetition is ritual, silently shaping your becoming. You affirm yourself not just by what you say, but by what you tolerate, what you chase, what you reject. The food you eat is an affirmation of how worthy you believe your body is of care. The love you give or withhold is a decree of the story you carry about your capacity to receive. The way you walk into a room, the way you breathe under pressure, the way you linger with joy or speed past it, it all adds up to a living liturgy. You are always declaring something to the universe. This is who I am. This is what I expect. This is what I'm aligned with. And the universe, like a mirror, simply reflects it back. So ask yourself with reverence, what am I praying through my patterns? Are my habits echoing the highest version of myself or a lesser memory of who I used to be? Okay, there is no neutral repetition. Every act, whether conscious or careless, is part of your sacred cycle. And to change your life is not just to speak a new truth, but to live it again and again and again and again, every single moment, right? Until your very presence becomes a sanctuary, until every breath becomes a blessing, until every step becomes a song. So hopefully that makes sense, right? Everything that we do is an affirmation. One of my favorite books, it's called You Too Can Be Prosperous. You Too Can Be Prosperous by Dr. Robert Russell. It's one of the books that changed my life when it comes to money. As I've constantly said, I used to be homeless. I've been bounced around, lived in my car, got the car repoed several times, right? So changing my mindset with money, it happened very, very quickly, right? But what Dr. Robert Russell says in this book is that every thought and belief that we have, it is like folding a piece of paper, where the more that you fold that piece of paper, the greater that crease is, the more defined that crease gets. And so we constantly fold this piece of paper over and over and over again. And what we can actually do is that we're gonna have certain things in our mind, okay, that unconsciously we've built in a way that we don't like. Certain negative beliefs about money. Right? And any time that you begin to speak what you actually want, it's like you're folding over the paper. You're creating that crease on the other side. How much can you do it? Can you do this like your life depends on it? Can you do it until you actually see true change in your life and then continue doing it forever? Right? And so this is what I see, right, is when you truly walk through life and try to embody who you want to be as if your life depends on it, as if there's no way that you want to go back to that old version of you. Well, this is when you get those results. Or when you truly say, I'm not going back. I will not be that person anymore. I will not have a mindset with lack. I will be conscious and I will challenge every belief that's not in alignment with how I want to live. Because the only alternative is I go back to that life that I don't want to be in anymore. Right? You don't want to struggle with money anymore. You don't want to struggle with relationships anymore. You don't want to struggle with your friendships anymore. You don't want to walk around in fulfillment. You don't want to have jobs you don't like. Okay? And everything that you want is just on the other side of you making a decision. You making a decision and walking through life with conviction that it's done. And you're not letting anything outside of you pull you off of that path. Nobody can tell you that things are not working out for you. No situation can show you that things are not working out for you. You have to walk with so much conviction that you trigger the external world to change because it has no choice. All right? And so this is your power, right? Your power is in your conviction. Your power is in you knowing that everything is working out for you. Okay, so final reflection prompts. Number 1, where do I need to surrender control and enter divine rest? What areas in your life have you just been pushing? It hasn't really been working out the way that you've expected. Maybe that is a calling for you to surrender. Okay. Number 2, what daily words am I feeding my spirit with? Are you feeding your spirit with divine words? Are you declaring yourself to be nothing less than divine? Are you declaring yourself to be beautiful, to be magnetic, to be prosperous, to be all those attributes of the Creator? Right? This is what even Jesus was doing when Jesus was repeating those affirmations. I am the truth, I am the light, right? These are all aspects of the divine. I believe he used 7, right? Which actually represent the archangels as well, right? Because each angel, like Gabriel, Michael, why all those names, El means of God, right? So the truth of God, the light of God, the sword of God, whatever the case may be, right? But this is what Jesus was doing, was he was invoking different aspects of God, telling you how to affirm. Every time that you affirm, you are speaking the name of God. Whatever you decree yourself to be, you are speaking, you are declaring God to be, right? Are you remembering who you are correctly, or are you using the Lord's name in vain? Only 2 options. When you speak to others, do you understand that they are the temple of God as well? Right? The time for reverence, the time to be kind to people is not when we're in a church, in a building, 4 walls and a roof. Okay? Everywhere that you walk is sacred ground because you are the temple. Everywhere that someone else walks is sacred ground because they are the temple. Do you treat others with reverence? Do you treat others like they are God? Do you speak to them and of them, whether they are in your face or not, as if they are the divine? Do you treat yourself that way? All right? If not, then you are using the Lord's name in vain. All right? But it's cool. It's cool. The moment that we forgive ourselves for doing this and we forgive others is the moment that our Father in heaven forgives us. The very moment. There's nothing to work towards. Right? It's not like you have to do this repentance and you have to go sit and get the priest to tell you to do this amount of prayer and go through another person to forgive you for your sins. The moment that you forgive yourself and forgive others is the moment that your Father in heaven forgives you immediately. Because you are divine, you are worthy. If you don't believe me, man, go and read let me turn this light off. Read the story of the prodigal son. Prodigal son ran off, did all kinds of things, was in the world, right? And the moment that he turned back to his Father, representing your Father in heaven, was the moment he was accepted. And he had just as much as everybody else. And when he was accepted, he got 3 things, right? Number 1, he received a robe. The robe represented his identity. His identity as the divine was restored. Number 2, he got a ring. The ring represented authority. Right? You could speak as the divine. When you know yourself as the divine, now you can actually speak as the divine. You can decree a thing and it shall be. And then he got his shoes. Shoes represented his path being made correct, being made perfect again. Okay? This is what those things mean. That's why those 3 things were extremely symbolic in the prodigal son. And then the older brother representing the ego said, hold up, I've been here this whole time. How come I didn't get those things? And the father looked at him and said, of course, you've been with me the whole time and everything that I have is yours. So God is clearly communicating everything that I have is yours, whether you've been here with me forever or whether you've been here with me for this moment. Whether you've been here with me forever, whether you've been meditating for years, whether you've been on retention for years, whether you've been eating clean, whether you've been going to church, doing your confessions for years, or if you've just been doing it right now, you have everything. So this is how spiritual ego tears us down. Is we think other people are closer to the divine because they go to church more, or meditate more, or read more, or know more scripture, they can speak better. All of a sudden, they're closer to the divine. No. No one can be closer to God because God is within you. This is the illusion. This is why we're taught to think God is somewhere out there. This is why Jesus said, if you think that heaven is up there, the birds will be closer to you. If you think heaven is over there, you will think other people are close to you. When you externalize God, you always will think somebody's closer to God. Even subconsciously, you'll be like, oh man, they meditate more. They gotta be closer. They're not. They're not. It even clearly says this, right? Verily, verily, I say to you, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name shall be given to you. What's the next part? It says, until now you've asked for nothing. It doesn't mean that you haven't asked for anything in the past. What it means, it doesn't matter what you've asked for in the past. The past doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that exists is right now. It only matters what you are being right now. Every now moment is a picture, okay? It's like a picture in this video. I always kind of reference photography, right? Every moment is just a still image. When you think of a movie, these are shot in 24 frames a second, 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second. What that means is that it's just a bunch of pictures. 60 frames a second means there's 60 pictures that are taken by this camera every second. And then the pictures flow so fast that to our eyes, we think it is video. This is the same way that reality works. It only matters what you are being right now. What you're being right now projects to the future, projects to the past, and changes everything. It doesn't matter what you were doing yesterday. It doesn't matter what you were doing 5 minutes ago. It doesn't matter how many prayers you did last year. All that matters is that you are with the divine right now. That's it. No one can be closer to God than you because God is within you. Nobody. Right? No. Why is it so bright, bruh? Jeez. All right, nobody can be closer to the divine than you because God is within you. Bro, this shit's still bright as hell. Okay, whatever. All right, and then number 3. How can I create a sacred rhythm of rest and repetition that anchors me in truth? Okay? How can you create a sacred rhythm of rest and repetition that anchors you in truth? Whether that's affirmations, whether it is, starting your morning off the same way, whether it's doing your meditation, okay? How can you, right, create that sacred rhythm of rest and repetition that anchors you in truth? All right? So that was the final reflection prompt. And so to summarize today's discussion, if your perception is your superpower, and now is the only moment that matters, then every time that your perspective is correct, it is godly. It is resting in the fact that you are the divine, that everything is working out for you. Every time that you can bring yourself into that awareness in the now moment, you are speaking an affirmation. Affirmations are not just the words that you speak, they are everything that you declare yourself to be. And you declare yourself to be something through the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you hold yourself to your discipline, the way that you treat your body. It is by constantly walking this righteous path, and the righteous path is going to be very specific to you. But you are making declarations of who you are. All the time, you're making declarations of who you are. Are you doing things that are you doing things that are reinforcing that you are the divine? Are you speaking to yourself highly? Are you repeating that you are divine, you are prosperous? When you speak to other people, when you speak of other people, do you gossip? Do you talk down to them? Or do you speak to them as if they are the temple of God? Do you only show reverence when you are in the church? Or do you show reverence every time that you encounter a fellow God or a fellow goddess, a fellow temple of the divine? Who are you being? These are all statements of who you are. And a statement of who you are is a decree. And a decree is a prayer. Right? Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name is I am. So whatever you attach to the end of I am, whatever you say that you are, is a prayer and will be given to you. You're not a victim. You are just a product of your thoughts. Your life is a reflection of your thoughts. Where you live, the type of relationships you have, the type of money that you have, these are all reflections of your thoughts. Your life is a report card. When you study that report card, and you begin to get insight on who you've been, when you start to become extremely accountable and conscious with your words, conscious with your thoughts, conscious with your beliefs, you will see that your life can change overnight, and there's nothing for you to do. There is just one thing for you to embody, and that is your divinity in the present moment. You are divine. You are a God. You are a goddess. You are everything that you want. If you desire something, you are already in alignment with it. If you weren't in alignment with it, you couldn't even imagine it. You couldn't even want something you're not in alignment with. That's why some people want to be doctors, other people don't. I ain't never wanted to be a doctor because I've never been in alignment with it. Right? What you want, you are in alignment with. And the only thing that you have to do is accept that it is a promise, rest in the Sabbath, in the knowing, in the faith that everything is unfolding perfectly, and allow God to do the job. Allow God to do the job. Okay? So I'll end this with some affirmations. Then I'll let y'all go. All right? What time is it? Okay. Cool. It's perfect timing. All right. I see you all as beautiful, okay, as divine, as prosperous, as perfect, as in alignment with everything that you want. Okay, you are perfect, you are worthy, and you are loved. You could not be anything less because you are God. God is within you. You have no limitations but the limitations that you place on yourself. Right? And if you do not feel any of these ways, it's cool because I see you as that way anyway. So I know that it must be true. Right? Y'all stay prosperous. Y'all stay blessed. Remember who you are. Okay? Remember who you are at all times. Right? I appreciate y'all and talk to y'all again tomorrow. Right? God willing. Okay, y'all stay prosperous. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all of y'all.